Welcome back. In this video, I'll be ranking all of the Vault superpowers in Superior based on their utility and effectiveness. So let's get to it. But before we get started, I do have to say that this is my favorite skill tree, and I'm probably being biased by quite a bit to the other skill trees, but it is what it is, man. Ronin with Vault is just a godsend of a combo. So let's kick things off with Amplify. It's a passive skill and shock chains twice as far and has a 10% chance to cause a crit. This is straight up A tier because just getting the range when you're speed running and having a chance to crit is just a win-win. Next up, we have Complete Circuit, a passive skill, and when you shock enemy, you gain 20% crit damage for 3 seconds. Now I'm going to place this C tier because I believe there's a better one that comes along the way, but you can combo it, and when you do combo it, it becomes B tier. Next, we have Cranial Discharge. It's a passive skill, and crit kills caused nearby enemies to be shocked. So this is B tier because everything based on the Vault skill tree works on being shocked, and if you can cause more things to be shocked, the more combos you can kick off. But since it's based on a crit kill, it's not A tier, it goes to B tier. Next up, we have Discharge. Your Vault Disc strikes nearby enemies with lightning when they expire. So this is going to be C tier. I hardly use a lot of my Vault Disc skills because I'm playing Ronin, I'm running and gunning, and I'm not using the melee to shoot the Vault Disc. Next up, we have Fork. It's a passive skill. Your Vault Disc split into 2 after its first bounce. As I said again, it's going to be C tier because I don't use a lot of Vault Disc skills. It's good for melee. I think if you have both of them, they could both go bump up to B tier, but by itself, they're both C tier. Next up, we have Generator. It's a passive skill, and when you transform, strike a nearby enemy with lightning. Strike an additional enemy every 2 seconds when you are remaining transformed. This skill is A tier because every time you press shift, when you have shocking dash, which we'll be talking about in just a second, it triggers the lightning strike. And if you're in overdrive, it's every 2 seconds you're dealing additional lightning damage, and it's just a really, really good combo. Next up, we have High Voltage. It's a passive skill, and shocking an enemy has a 10% chance to strike them with lightning. So this is B tier, mainly being it creates lightning strikes. A 10% chance isn't really that good, but adding the lightning strike to the thing gets it up to B tier. Next up, we have Lightning Rod. It's a passive skill, and melee hits on an armored enemy strikes them with lightning. So I'm gonna have to place it on D tier because once you get to the point where you're fighting enemies with armor, you're not going to be using melee to kill them. You're going to be running and gunning or using weapons at a distance depending on the difficulty level. So it's one of the skills that I hardly ever use in the Vault skill tree. Next up, we have Shock Armor. On a close kill, nearby enemies are shocked. This is A tier because all my damage with Ronin is close kills. Ronin is a hero that is basically in the middle of all the fights, so anything with close kills is amazing, and causing them to be shocked, which then shocked combos with all of these other powers, is just a win-win-win. Next up, we have Shock of Vision. Shoot a high damage focused laser beam from your eyes, shocking enemies in your gaze. Now, this is not as good as the superpower from the fire tree, which is called Heat Vision, because Heat Vision deals more damage, has damage over time with burning, and is just insane. This is A tier because it has less damage than Heat Vision. It does cause shock, which can cause you the other benefits, but is not as good. And Heat Vision remains S rank while this remains A. Next up, we have Shocking Blast. Shotguns cause shock once a second. This is straight up C tier. Main reason being you can combo it with shotgun turrets, especially if you have the 2 turret mod. And if you use shotguns, it's just extra damage on top of good close range damage. Now we have Shocking Dash. It's a dash skill. It transforms into pure electricity and shocks nearby enemies. Now, I don't care what anybody says, this is S rank. This is the best dash skill in the game. It gives you mobility, it gives you AoE damage, and it gives you the ability to combo with several other skills from this tree, as well as other superpower trees. Another thing it does is, other dash skills apply gravity when you dash. This dash skill does not. You turn into a ball of energy and you glide. So you can get across terrain, you can get across maps, you can get across obstacles if you chain dash, and it's just an amazing skill. It's S tier hands down. Next up, we have Shocking Jump. It's a jump skill and ride a magnetic field for a short time, reactivate to kick out a Volt Disc. Now this is B tier. Main reason it's B tier is because when you're riding that Volt Disc, you are gliding through terrain, and like I said with Striking Dash, you can skip a bunch of things. Then you can press the spacebar and you can combo it with the dash to get even further. So if you're using it for mobility, it's B tier, but for damage and all the other aspects, I'll probably say it's C tier. Next up, we have Shocking Punch. Hold the melee to deal damage and throw out a Volt Disc. Your basic attacks shock enemies. So I'm going to place this C tier. It's a good melee weapon. Causing shock is also good. Launching a Volt Disc is good if you combo with the other ones. But overall, it's only useful, as I said, when you start a run or when you've just used the infamy system. Next up, we have Shocking Shot. Precision weapons cause shock once a second. Now I'm going to place this in B tier. It goes up to C, maybe even B if you're playing Nomad or if you use precision weapons. With Ronin, I hardly ever use precision weapons. I'm mainly running and gunning. Next up, Shocking Spray. It's a passive skill and auto weapons have a 15% chance to cause shock. So this just straight up B tier. I use auto weapons all the time. It combos with turrets, especially if you have double turrets. It's just damage on top of damage, which is always good. Next up, we have Smite. It's a passive skill, and killing a shocked enemy strikes a nearby enemy with lightning. This is A tier. It combos with the shock mechanic of Volt, and it creates a lightning strike. Now I think you guys can start to see like the combo with the shock and lightning is just great overall AoE damage, and it's just insane once you get like several of the A, S, and B tier skills combined. Your damage and speed clearing potential just goes through the roof. Next up, we have Stunning Display. It's a passive skill, and shock damage increases by 5 every time it links to another enemy. So this is straight up A tier. Main reason being you're getting more damage every time you hit another enemy, and if you pair this with Amplify, where the shock travels twice as far, you're just going to be getting insane damage and you can be covering a really good range. Next up, Surge. It's a passive skill, and kills increase movement speed and reload speed by 10%. And stacks up to 5 times. So this is a 50% speed and reload increase if you kill 5 enemies, and you can keep this stacked if you just shocking dash through the whole map. You're just going to have more movement speed and more reload speed. I'm going to place it in B. It can be A if you're using weapons that require reload speed, and getting a 50% cooldown is just amazing. Next up, we have Thunderclap, and it's a passive skill, and your explosions cause a lightning strike on an enemy near its center. This is also A tier if you combine it with all the other explosive augments and superpowers. Like if you have a satchel charge or an explosive precision weapon, it's just amazing damage on top of extra AoE damage. Now onto the next skill, which is my favorite overdrive skill in the entire game, and that is Volt Overdrive. There's no question, it's S rank. It's an overdrive skill, and what it does is on overdrive start, it will shock all enemies in range. And while overdrive is active, random nearby enemies are struck with lightning and your overdrive charges faster. So this combos well with this, which in turn generates more lightning strikes, which shocks enemies, and it's just like a snowballing combo that just makes everything die around you. It even works really well with bosses. When you hit that shift to dash, it triggers a lightning strike, and it's just such a good combo. It's amazing. These are my 2 favorite skills in game right now. And then finally, we have Zapping Hands. It's a weapon skill, and it shoots electricity from your hands that shock all enemies in front of you. This is also A tier. Main reason being, this AoE speed clearing potential is amazing, especially for challenger runs. Now, the reason why it's A tier and not S tier is because when you're fighting bosses, the range on this skill is peanuts compared to the other skills. I have had Zapping Hands and been fighting Revolt, Overmind, Growth, and several other bosses, and I die miserably because I have a turret and this skill. But apart from that negative effect, this skill is amazing. It shocks your enemies, it has AoE damage, you can point it in that direction and just clear anything in that direction. And if you combine it with the A and B tier skills, your shock spread faster, it causes lightning strikes. It's just combo on top of combo with damage on top of damage. So it's just a win. That's pretty much it for this skill tree. Now it does have several A tiers, main reason being because they combo so well. And individually, they're all generally good powers. So if you combo them together, it just makes it even more powerful. And the Volt is the baseline of my superpower set. In every run I can possible, get Shocking Dash, Volt or Drive, Amplify, Generator, Zapping Hands, and Stunning Display. This is my baseline build. Then anything I can combo on top of that, I will, such as if I can get Explosions create Lava, Explosions create Ice Spikes, Explosions create Lightning, or if I want to go another way and get Ice Overdrive and then Ice Spike Dash. This skill tree just combos so well with other skill trees. You can go Volt and Ice, Volt and Fire. Volt and Force is a really good combo because you combine mods that when you have a Volt or Force skill tree increases movement speed and reload speed. So this, I would say, is not hands down the best superpower skill tree in Superior. That's pretty much it for this video. Don't forget to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell because it's the easiest way to support me as a content creator and it's free. If you haven't already, go check out my other tier list videos, which can be found here or here, one of the corners. And I'll see you guys in the next blockchain Web3 NFT gaming video.